Hello, Abnormal Investigations. I got another good one for you today. If y'all have not subscribed, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell, select all to get all of our newest content updates. And I've got another good one for you today. Thank you for all the help with bringing Hunter home. The descriptions. In the description box, you will find the links to be able to do that. Let's get into today's encounter. In the summer of 2015, me and my two friends, Jake and Ryan, decided to camp out in Castle Eden Forest. We took alcohol and thought it would be a good idea to also take a Bluetooth speaker with us. We arrived at about 8 o'clock and it was still light outside, so we decided on a spot and pitched our tents. This area was a off-track uphill and quite the hike, especially since we were carrying our tents, bags, and everything else. Nevertheless, we made it unharmed and excited for the night ahead. The first encounter that happened I did not see, but both of my friends did. I initially thought they were just trying to scare me. The area where we pitched was flat, but surrounded by trees, and two hills. One was at an incline in the front of us, and the other was a sheer drop behind us and the side. We had hiked up the safe way. While I was unzipping my tent bag, both of my friends started cursing, and at first I thought they were arguing. It was in a split second when I realized they were looking up the hill and through the trees. "Did you see that?" Jake looked at me, and I replied by just shaking my head and going back down and unpacking my tent. "That was weird, guys," Ryan shouted. "What are you talking about?" I asked, thinking nothing of it. My friend confirmed the same thing. When I look back now, I can see they were both spooked, but not enough to send them home. Both my friends recall seeing a big red wolf. They called it the demon wolf. And that was both their words, and they agreed on what they saw. And just a side note for a little perspective for the readers, we don't have wolves in the UK. They described it as the best they could, seeing it from a distance. They said it was red, like a rusty color with shiny red eyes and a gray face. They said it moved like a dog. But then it hid behind a tree and used its arms and hands to peer from behind it, and then it crawled like a man out of their sight. The night went on as usual, with them occasionally monitoring this wolf, and it kept hoping they were just pretending, because it all honestly started to freak me out the darker the night got. Sometime around midnight, Jake mentioned the battery for his speaker was low. It was shortly after that when we heard the collection of strange noises, and we could hear the noises over the speaker. So we kind of just sat and listened, looking at each other, silently, trying to figure out what it was and what we were hearing. We heard a low hissing sound at first, and it went on for about a minute, or maybe even a minute and a half. Then we heard thuds in the distance, followed by snapping twigs. Coincidentally, and I say that with all irony because it sounds like, and I promise you, cliché, but I assure you it happened. The speaker ran out of battery. I believe my two friends went pale. I believe I also went pale listening to the sounds around us. I felt the blood rush to my face, and my chest just locked up. I was so creeped out. I didn't want to breathe. I could barely and literally hear my heartbeat. The hissing turned into a very sharp growl, like a high-pitched growl, but it had immense volume to it. I'm sorry, this is the best that I know how to describe the noise that we heard. The noise of an angry house cat. It was sort of a moan, too, but this growl had a bubbling sound. I know it sounds strange, but trust me, it was absolutely terrifying. To make things worse, another noise came up from the hill I mentioned before. Now, the best way to explain this noise was something big saying, "Rot," or "rock." It was very deep. It reminded me of a gorilla. Then it just growled. It was very low rumble. Now, by the time this had happened, the other noise had stopped, so we were absolutely petrified. We wasn't sure what was going on. The next thing that happened is possibly one of the scariest things I've ever experienced in my entire life. There was a sudden explosion of twigs and branches breaking, and there was a 100% something running around in the trees. It was very heavy, and it was very fast. We could see nothing. Then it happened. It sounded like a dogfight. That's the best way I can explain it. Like a really violent, loud, and disturbing dogfight. It was so loud to the left of me I jumped up to my feet and shouted at it. I had 1,000 things going through my mind, and I assumed it was someone playing a really good prank on us. Believe me when I say, when I shouted "Stop it" as loud as I could, you could barely be able to hear it. The commotion went on for at least a couple of minutes. It felt like a lifetime. Now I have no idea how we mustered the courage, but we all ran for it. We left our tents and our bags, and Ryan left his mobile phone, and we left my house keys, and we literally rolled down the hill to get away from these things as we sprinted toward the exit into our vehicle. But as we was almost making it to our vehicle, we heard the loud, loud yelp, followed by the dead silence, and then the running down the side of the hill beside us. As I peered to my left and I looked through the trees, I could see it. It was an upright dog. That's the only way I could explain it. With a human head. It was running, paralleling us, following us, watching us, jumping over everything. It was so graceful. I was amazed at how this thing moved. As we made it to our vehicle, we all jumped in. We started it, and of course, started our way out. On our way out, as we made the bend after we left the parking, there was a bend with the trees on both sides. It ran out, slapped the side of our car, and ran into the other side. And when I say slapped the side of our car, it felt like it was going to move the back end sideways. When we got home, there was a handprint. My dad was 6'4", 320 pounds. The handprint swallowed my dad's. To this day, my dad still does not believe that a creature done this. He believes it was a large man playing a joke on us. But I know what I seen. And this is the UK. You don't see this a lot. But it did happen. And I need my friends here to know it happened. Very good story. It sounds to me like it was an accidental encounter. And whenever you all ran, you probably invoked its instincts to chase you. But glad you all made it out of there. And until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And we will definitely see you guys on the next one.